To make this whole process even easier, Dubrink created the CBAM Authorized Declarant self-assessment and statement template. It's a lot of words. Note that if your company is less than 2 years old, you will, at least it looks like, you will automatically be seen as high risk, where you will have to provide guarantees, meaning that you have to guarantee that you can pay the costs for the CBAM certificates. The more proof you show that you are a solid company, that you're not making huge losses, for example, the less risky they see your company. Well, the authorities, they may ask on one hand for proof of reliability. The European Commission wants to assure that you can prove, let's say, an impeccable legal integrity, as they say. You can do that by demonstrating that you have policies in place to prevent doing business with sanctioned parties or becoming involved in customs fraud or irregularities. Think of training and awareness, code of conduct, sanction policy, fraud, incident procedure, etc., etc. Next is financial soundness. So recent financial statements, a bank reference letter or credit rating may be requested. Documentation related to financial guarantees, bank guarantees, surety bond, cash deposit, etc. All this influences what your status is going to be. Last but not least, your internal procedures for compliance and customs legislations, especially if you don't have an AEO status, because if you have that AEO status, most of these things are already taken care of. So one of them is, for example, the technical capacity to comply. I mean, we literally see sometimes that companies are usually manually dealing with a few imports, and they have to enter manually a few rows into the CBAM portal of the European Union. And then suddenly it's 5,000 of them or 20,000, and they have a hard time compiling all that data. But you can imagine if you would work with a company, for example, like Dubrink, you can literally prove that you're doing your calculations right. You can literally prove that you check all your items on CBAM, because in our platform, you could just dump in your imports and automatically it filters for you which items you need to report and you don't have to report. Eventually, that's going to be not only for CBAM EU, but also, for example, for CBAM UK. And if you're interested, if your items are part of CBAM UK, you can go to check.dubrink.com. You will find there a tool, and it will show you now if the items are part of CBAM EU and UK. It's not always the same. For example, if I remember well, under 7.2 codes, it's more extensive in the UK version than in the EU version. Another thing what our platform offers, and what you kind of need to provide to show that you are doing the right internal procedures, is an import summary report. So on every import you do in Dubrink, you have a report with all the information, which shows your supplier, not your sub-suppliers, because suppliers don't always like to show who is their sub-supplier, but with your supplier, with the calculation, with the emission, etc. That if in several years you get an audit, you can pull up your import summary report. Now, to make this whole process even easier, Dubrink created the CBAM Authorized Declarant self-assessment and statement template. It's a lot of words. And in there, in these 6 pages, you will know step by step what to do and what to state. Of course, you need to make sure first that it is aligned with the reality. But once that's the case, you might want to upload this file to the portal to become an authorized declarant. For example, how you manage the operational capacity, but also how you deal with fraud and sanctions policy statements. I've seen quite some clients of us joining this webinar. For you, this document is totally free of charge. Please reach out to us and we will send it to you.